Hi, my name is Bailey Belial, and this is my Module 16 case study for EDL 856. The standard I'll be focusing on during this case study is Standard 4. An education leader promotes the success of every student by collaborating with faculty and community members, responding to diverse community interests and needs, and mobilizing community resources. The first slide is problem identification and analysis, which basically just focuses in on what is the case study's problem. So what do I know thus far? Mrs. Rose is new to her district and is serving as her first role at her first school as an administrator, and she is serving as an assistant principal. The school that she's currently at has a head principal and no PTO, PTA, no parent organization, and the head principal has a very different view than she does on parent involvement. He has had negative experiences and kind of failed experiences in the past with parent organizations, and Mrs. Rose is very excited and enthusiastic about increasing parent involvement. The principal does allow for parents to be involved in a way by having or volunteering for lunch duty, and both principals have agreed to go ahead and have a parent meeting to increase parent involvement. The head principal does not want it to turn into a PTO or to be a parent organization, but he has agreed to go ahead and have the meeting. The meeting notice was sent home on a Friday with kids for a meeting that was on Monday, so did not give parents a lot of notice. What I would need to know to move forward was what caused the parent organizations in the past to not work out. Was there a lack of communication? Was there not enough guidance? Were there not specific goals set in place? What was the problem and what caused them to essentially fail? Do the teachers feel that there needs to be more parent involvement? So do they have the same opinions as the head principal? What goals does the head principal have for the parent advisory board, as he called it? Would it have the same goals as essentially a parent organization, or does he have something else in mind? So what exactly, kind of get a feel for him on what he wants this parent advisory board that he's agreed to, what does he want it to look like? And how do teachers and administrators currently communicate with community members? So are we sending out all calls? Do we just send home notes with kids? Do we use the local newspaper? What exactly are we doing right now to communicate with parents and people in the community? So to identify what the problem is, there is a need for more parent involvement in this school. Just having them volunteer at lunch duty is not sufficient enough for the kids to feel support and for those parents to be valued stakeholders in their kiddos' education. So definitely need to address that problem. And the relationship between parents and schools seems as though it needs some repairment. There seems to be a lack of morale between the parents and the principal, at least, which probably filters down to the rest of the school, as you usually see with an educational leader. That usually just kind of filters down to the other people in the school. So it seems like probably everybody just needs relationships built up. My first plan of action would be to encourage and convince the head principal that we need to continue on with this parent meeting that we are currently about to have. There were 8 parents that showed up, so we need to take that time to show our appreciation to them and thank them for coming to the meeting, especially since it was such short notice and they took the time to come. And just use this as a brainstorming meeting with these 8 parents and just talk closely to them to see what their ideas are and what they'd like to see in the future for parent involvement with the school. And then at the meeting, I would discuss and schedule a second meeting and make sure that it's planned well in advance so the parents that are there can also make it to that next meeting, and the parents that weren't able to make it have plenty of time to make arrangements to be at the second meeting. I would then conduct a survey with all the parents in our school district, or at least try to gauge what kind of involvement they would like to see. So I would give the parents the survey through a variety of different avenues. I send a note home so they could take a paper version and send it back. Put a link on the web page, our school web page, or send home a little note with a link for a survey on SurveyMonkey, or if we have some sort of all-call system or Alert Now where we can send emails to all the parents, send that link via email as well. I'd make sure that the parents have plenty of time to complete the survey before the next meeting, and also give administration enough time to view the results, talk them over, and see kind of where the parents' heads are at on parent involvement before we start planning the next meeting, or what we're going to say at the next meeting. I would then have a meeting with the head principal to show him the results, and we could discuss that and kind of come up with a plan for ourselves before the next meeting, so we can have an understanding and a plan for what we're going to tell parents is our ideas on involvement. Some strategies for implementation. I would ensure effective communication before the next meeting. So give them a month's notice, not just a weekend. Make sure that it's scheduled well in advance so parents can make those arrangements, and make sure we have a better turnout than we did the first meeting. And I would advertise the meeting in a variety of ways to reach more parents. So I want to try and get the information, at least get the information to all the parents about the meeting, regardless if they can come or not, but at least make sure that all of our parents at least know about the meeting and have the opportunity to be there. So put the information on the school webpage, send a note home with their student in the book bag, put it in the newspaper, and again, use all-call, power announcement, whatever we have to get that information to the parents. I would then use the data collected from all the surveys and meet with the head principal to discuss. So hopefully we have a good amount of surveys returned or completed, so I can show him the amount of involvement that parents are interested in, and then we could talk about it and have that data presentable to the parents at the next meeting. I would then make sure through all of my reminders that we ask parents to bring a friend, so bring another parent that is on your kid's softball team, or somebody that goes to your church, invite them to come to the meeting. So just another way of spreading the word about the upcoming meeting, and try to keep a positive attitude about parent correspondence. So I would try to influence the principal as much as I could to hopefully let my positive attitude and my enthusiasm about the parent involvement rub off on him a little bit, and hopefully get him more open to the idea about a parent organization. I would then attempt through other educational experiences that I have and situations that I have with the head principal to try to build his trust and build a positive relationship with him, so I can attempt to take on the lead with this parent involvement project. So that way we have more of a positive influence in the whole situation. Resolving the issue and continuing to work toward getting rid of this negative attitude around parent organizations is to continue holding meetings with the parents, so I can continue to build relationships with the community, and would then actively improve the communication with parents, because obviously sending a note home Friday for Monday meeting is showing that there is some sort of problem with communication. So through that improved communication, I would want to keep building that rapport with the parents and working toward goals that we had set in place at these meetings. And then do school activities or fundraisers with the parents and give the parents the leadership role so they can feel extremely involved, and they can volunteer and take charge in some of those school parent activities that we do. And I just feel like for our students, this would model a good working relationship with parents, and they would see that their parents are involved and their friends' parents are there, and we're just all one unit trying to help our kids be successful in the end. So to talk about how I felt about this situation, first thing was, it was obvious the head principal seemed to have a fairly negative attitude toward parent organizations, and he kind of had this preconceived idea that parents didn't want to be involved. So I would have to definitely build my relationship with him and be careful with how I approach certain things with him, because he has these past experiences fresh in his mind, and it's affecting how he sees the future of parent involvement. As the assistant principal, I'd also have to make sure that I was maintaining that positive and motivated attitude that Mrs. Rose had, because although she was eager to improve this relationship with the parents and create this parent organization, it would be hard in your first year, at your first administrative job, having to counteract that negative attitude from the head principal. So that was definitely something that stood out as being a difficulty with the situation. And I felt like it was really encouraging that there were 8 parents that showed up to the meeting, even though there was the short notice. And so I thought that was a good foundation for the future of what parent organization and parent involvement would look like in the school. Some unresolved issues that I see that are kind of left open-ended with this scenario and situation is the relationship and the views of the head principal with the community and with the assistant principal, because it would just be an ongoing relationship, or an ongoing progress being made to a better relationship with everyone, and just kind of being able to get rid of those past experiences for the head principal, and giving him a new outlook on parent organization. The head principal might also not let Mrs. Rose take the lead on the parent organization. He might not like the idea of continuing meetings, so that's definitely a problem that we'll need to overcome as well. And then collecting all of the data from the surveys and deciding what would be best for our school in regards to parent involvement. So there will be some parents that don't want to be involved probably at all, and some that want to be overly and extremely involved. So just finding that common ground for what will work best. Just some questions when reflecting on Standard 4. How did you collaborate with families and community members to contribute to the school's success? We'll first have the conversation with the head principal and convince him that we need to have this meeting. We need to thank these parents for showing up, and then having the meeting kind of built that collaboration with families, because regardless of the number of people that attended, we needed to be thankful that they did show up and that they were there. And then making sure that the parents felt like their opinions and ideas were valued at the meeting, and using that to increase communication with other parents. So hopefully that positive experience that the parents had at the meeting will then be relayed to other parents for future meetings. The second question, how did you respond to the diverse needs and interests of the community on an ongoing basis? Surveys were conducted for all the parents in the district to gauge their interests on what they'd like to see for parent involvement, and then the data was used for future meetings. And then the data and information can help shape goals for the new group that we start, whether it's the parent advisory board or a parent organization. And the monthly meetings will continue, so that will continue the conversations and the relationship building with parents in the district. The information about meetings was presented in a variety of outlets, so you're then including the community to reach more parents, and making sure that the information is at least getting to all of the parents about the next meeting. And third question, how did you mobilize community resources to address and help solve problems in a way that supports the school? The first thing was use a different community media outlets. To use the local newspaper to inform parents of a meeting. That'll increase communication, but also includes different community businesses and different leaders in the school process as well. So kind of touching on 2 different things in one. And then increasing parent involvement will ensure that parents feel like they are a quality, valued stakeholder in their students' success. And then including administration, parents, and community members in a positive way will hopefully decrease that negativity that's currently in the district because of past experiences with parent organizations. So that is the end of my presentation, cutting it close on time. So I hope everyone has a great summer. Thank you.